Recently, my buddy Stephan asked me how I'm able to work 30 hours a week, yet still run 7 companies that have made over 7 figures in profit. And it's an interesting question because most people are working 50, 60 hours a week on one business that's not making that much. And I believe that the way I've built my companies is vastly different than almost any entrepreneur I've ever met. And so in this clip, you're gonna see exactly how I run all of those businesses while maintaining the lifestyle that I have. And my hope is that you could take some of these principles and apply them to your own life and your own business.
Thank you so much for making it on, man.
Yeah,
we
happy
appreciate
to be
it.
back. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. We got the real estate expert here.
Yeah.
Buying up a lot of real estate this year.
You know, I think I said it the last 2 iced coffee hours that everyone needs to keep buying, and they would have did pretty good.
How much have you bought this year so far?
This year, I think we've been buying around 10 a month. So we're buying a lot. And that's just flips.
Yeah. That's all in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, those are flips. And then obviously we're buying the apartments now, which we'll talk about. So it's going good.
And what's interesting to me is that you have so many businesses under like the umbrella of like Ryan Pineda.
Mm-hmm.
How do you build such an effective team underneath you? And also, last time we spoke, you said you only work, what was it, like 7 hours a day? 6 hours a day?
Mm-hmm.
How are you able to accomplish so much in such little time?
You know, I think it just comes down to building an organization like the right way. You know, I know I've watched a bunch of guys' podcasts. So like I've seen Hormozy speak and Ryan Serhant speak and, you know, all these guys. Like, it's true. The moment you start scaling and building out the organization to kind of function without you, like, you don't necessarily have to do all this stuff, you know? So it's like, I used to go on all the seller appointments myself and close deals. You know, I haven't done that in years, right? If I wanted to raise money, I used to be the one calling the investors, trying to raise money. It's like, I don't do that anymore, right? We have people who do that. I used to go to the houses and manage the construction and the projects. I don't do that. You know, like even in the education space, you know, that was something Graham was, we were talking about maybe months back when I first, we first met. Like that company, you know, I think last month we did like 600 grand, pretty much organic. And, you know, like info has really high margins. Like you don't, you know, it's super high margins. But like even in coaching, you know, it's like, how do I build this so that's not me always having to coach? How can I empower other coaches and teach them what I know and like have them coach and hold people accountable and, you know, all this stuff. So I think all the businesses are built in that same way where it's like, I'll be there initially, like really building it out the way it needs to be. You know, the same way, like when we did Creator Properties, I was with Graham, you know, every day, like, hey, what do you think of this logo? What do you think of this name? Here's the website. How are we going to change the wording and all this stuff? Okay, great. Here's these first initial deals. Like, here's the lawyers, like really laying the groundwork. But once we do that, we don't have to do that again. Like it's done. At that point, you know, now the machine is built and now you just plug deals into it, you know, and it's just a process. We get a deal, we talk about it, we send it to investors, they invest, you know, then we manage, and then you just keep doing it over and over again. So whatever product or service we're selling, if you just build the process and you have really good people that can execute that process over and over again and adapt as markets and, you know, things change, it doesn't really require you too much, you know? Like I said this from the beginning with content. For me, I still have yet to edit a video. Like I don't edit. I don't post them anymore. I don't make my thumbnails or anything else. Could I do better if I like put all my time and focus into doing that? Absolutely. Like we could do better, but for one, I don't want to do that. And two, by not doing it, it allows me to do all these other things.
And when there are random fires in the different businesses that you own, do you still find yourself having to step in and put them out sometimes? Or do you have people that are able to solve any issue that may come up? Because I've noticed with me, you know, I do have an editor and I do have an assistant, but when they're struggling and they can't find a solution to something, I constantly have to find myself to still step in, review certain things, and I can't fully detach myself from the stuff that they're doing, which I feel like would ease my mind a lot. It doesn't save that much time, but for me not having to think about these certain little things that happen on a daily basis would really, I feel like, spur my creativity. What's your experience been like with that?
So this is also why I'm like a big advocate of delegating and building this out the right way, because it does give you the ability to have like free time and actually be creative, like you just said. So, right now my schedule for the last, I don't even know, year plus has been Monday to Thursday, 10 to 5 at the office. Friday I golf, weekends are with the family. Like it hasn't changed, right? Tomorrow I'm actually, I told you guys this, like we had to film today because I'm taking the family to Malibu for the next 5 days. And I was in the Dominican last week. And it's just like the businesses still churn along. Like we still got creator properties up and going. We still flipped houses and did things. And so it's like you gain freedom by creating systems and hiring great people. And it costs you money to do that. I've paid millions and millions of dollars in salaries, but it's well worth it to gain my time freedom. And for me, it's not about making the most money. It's really just about doing what I want to do every day and, doing the things I love. And then also building, at least as far as business goes, sustainable things that don't need me, So if I were to die tomorrow, I would hope that, my tax company would still function without me, which it does. Like I don't do taxes. Like they're good without me. I would hope that, my education company, which most people, it's tied to them. And it still is like I'm the face for sure. But as far as like training people and like executing, it doesn't need me. Like it will run just fine without me. We might suffer on sales because, I'm not now talking about it and whatever. But I have faith that the leadership in place would figure out a way to go generate leads without me, have a different face, promote one of our students who is, a good marketer, a good leader, and, one of our coaches, whoever.
And you found all of these different businesses that you've built out to be 100% automated. You don't ever have to dip into them and, like I said, put out fires?
Well, no, I don't want to say I don't ever have to dip into them. What I do is like really from the sidelines. Like I see myself more like a, I guess, general once it's established. Once it's starting, like when I first start a business, I'm like all in building that out. But once it's built out and the right people are in place, then I kind of become like a general where, every week, my sister, she sends me the report on every single company. She's like, here's how much revenue they did. We have different KPIs that I'm tracking. Like, I want to know how many deals did we get this week, right? How close are we to raising the money on this, fund deal that we're doing? How many students signed up, how many, whatever. And so I get all these metrics every single week from her. And then I'm able to look at them and say, okay, that's like on par. Like we're close to hitting our quarterly goal. Okay, what's up with this? Why is this so far behind? And, I'll get the story and then I'll be like, okay, well, what are we going to do to fix it? And, from there, she kind of executes that. And so the way we're structured now is like each individual company has its own COO and it has its own organizational chart, right? And so that COO's job is to strictly run that specific company. And with that, they get a percentage of net profit, whether they're a partner or not, because I want them equally incentivized. Like if we win as a whole, I want them to win. Like I don't want them to just be on salary. Like it doesn't matter what the company does. So I always have a net profit split with all my COOs. But from there, what I started to realize as we grew was that these companies weren't communicating good enough together. Because if we learned something that worked well for sales or marketing in one company, they weren't communicating it to the other company, right? Because they're kind of just worried about their own thing. And I started to think like, man, dude, every time we need a website made or an ad or like hiring a new salesperson or some tech, like each one has to individually go figure this out. And I was like, dude, it's time to like create this parent company or this shared resource company. And you just like, it wasn't any new revolutionary idea I had. It was just something that I've seen from big companies, right? Like, Google has Alphabet and Alphabet feeds YouTube. It feeds every other company that they have. And it's kind of like this shared resource where YouTube can communicate with Google Drive and all their other things. So at this parent company level or shared resource level, we hired all of the people that all the companies need, but don't really need like on a full-time individual basis. So we got legal, finance, sales trainer, our media buyer, our graphic designer for the websites, our tech development team for any softwares or, CRM stuff, whatever we need. And then just like operations for that company. And so like on that shared resource company, I pay over $100,000 a month in salaries because it's just so strong. And so like when we wanted to go create all the stuff for creator properties, I told Graham this, I go, all right, we'll get it set up and, it's going to be way cheaper than if we were to go hire out all these people initially because we already have it all in place. And so immediately logo was made, website was made, copy was written. It was
fast.
Like everything was so quick because the parent company already has all those people.
But they're all, that's not a salaried employee. That's like more contract work.
No, they're all salaried employees full time.
Wow.
Yeah, because think about it. All my companies need this stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
So instead of hiring someone or hiring an outside company, Ryan's just like he just basically creates his own company to do it.
Yeah,
So
because
you need someone to clean the toilet. He's like, I'm gonna
Make a toilet cleaning
make a
business.
toilet cleaning company. We
Yeah.
need that
well, like I was telling Graham,
car wash company.
we're going to need an investor relation person for creator because there's going to be so many people that want to invest, right? And we're going to have to talk to all these leads. And so instead of being like, Graham, do you know anybody who wants to work for us as investor relations? First thing we do is, I forgot to mention, we have HR at the parent company level. So HR has a process for posting a job. Like if you guys watch my Instagram stories, you'll see whenever we
All the
post
time.
jobs,
Yeah.
constantly hiring. I don't post that, right? There's a process for a job posting, and then there's the interview, and then there's everything else. And then what happens like for a sales position is the final check would be interviewing with our sales manager in the parent company because he knows like what we need. And the beauty is maybe that salesperson doesn't fit good for creator. They're not savvy enough for funds or whatever else, but they might be a good salesperson for, home run offer or future flipper or whatever, right? And so he has all of these candidates of salespeople and we're able to place them if we really like them for something else. And so, it just kind of merges this whole ecosystem together, but then it also allows us to really, do cross sells and other things because people don't realize like, oh, well, if you invest with us, you need tax. Do you want to talk to one of our accountants and see if we're a good fit for you? It doesn't cost you anything. And it's like, yeah, sure. And then, it could be revenue if they end up signing up with us. So that parent company will end up paying for itself like easily just from just being better.
So you see a lot of crossover from your clients amongst businesses?
100%. I would say most people who are a client in multiple companies.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw you were looking for a personal assistant, right?
Yeah.
Posted that on Instagram. So how does this work? So if someone applies, they go through your HR. What if someone comes to you and is like, Ryan, I'm going to be the perfect person. Everything goes through HR?
Yeah. I don't have time to interview people, dude. Like,
What if it's someone you know?
I mean, if I know,
Of a buddy comes to you and is like, hey, I'll be your assistant.
well, if I already know them,
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah or no.
Yeah.
I know whether I want them or not. So yeah, I mean, no, everything goes through HR, and she goes through a rigorous process of, having them send their resume. They got to do a personality test.
How do you do that? Do you have them do like a quiz online?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Like a Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, but it's called Predictive Index. I think it cost us like $8,000 a year. So like once again, parent company expense.
Yeah.
So like when you think about these other expenses too, the tech, the CRM, we've created to be the same across all companies now. So like if somebody gets tax from us, everyone can see like, oh, this is a tax client. And then, you have them fill out a survey saying like, what else are you interested in out of all these things we offer? And so then there's other offers that we can make them. But, with the personality test and all these other softwares and things we have to buy to run the parent company, most companies can't buy it by themselves as a single company. It just doesn't make sense financially. But when it's spread across all these companies, it makes a lot of sense, So like the personality test, we do that. We, obviously read the resume. If everything looks good on the personality and the resume, she'll hop on a virtual interview, whatever. If that goes good, in person, and she'll meet either, typically that person will meet the COO of the company that they're hiring for to see if there's a good fit. That way the COO is not wasting their time. Like you think about this, other companies who have COOs, like they're hiring people themselves. They're creating the job posting. They are interviewing all these people, and that takes away from them actually running the company and doing things that make money. And so when you think about our competitive advantage, it's like, dude, our COOs don't have to worry about any of this crap, like running ads, training salespeople, hiring. All they have to focus on is just the day-to-day operations of what they have in front of them. You know, how do we get more deals? How do we get these houses fixed up? And how do we get these apartments stabilized? Like, they're super focused on just like the product and service itself, instead of all the organizational stuff that most companies lack.
Wow.
Wow.
Pretty awesome.
Well done.
Yeah, man.
That's
wow.
incredible.
Thank you.
You've built out
Yeah.
an amazing structure for a business.